Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
We are officially on the road to WrestleMania with only 62 days left. I am extremely excited. This is when things start to get very, very interesting leading up to WrestleMania.
And definitely, Raw started off with Stephanie McMahon, and you know that when Stephanie McMahon opens up the show, something big's gonna happen.
Exactly, and that one big thing that was going to happen was Becky Lynch coming out, and when Stephanie introduces her, she's like, "You are the 2019 Women's Royal Rumble winner," but she also goes on to tell her that I noticed your knee, and let's take a look at how you got injured. So then they show the footage of how she got injured at the Royal Rumble, and she tells her, "Are you okay? Are you feeling okay?" And Becky Lynch goes on to tell her, "Yes, this is my moment and nobody's going to take this opportunity from me." And Becky Lynch already kind of had an idea of what was going to be going on. And so then Stephanie tells her, to keep it very short for you guys, she tells her, if you do not go see medical doctors, you will not be able to compete at WrestleMania. That's basically what she said.
Basically, Stephanie wants her to see the WWE doctors and get cleared by WWE medical staff, and that's what Becky Lynch is refusing to do. And I mean, I understand where she's coming from because she's already missed that big match against Ronda Rousey. I believe it was at
Survivor
Series, and I don't blame her. But at the same time, Stephanie McMahon is trying to view for her well-being.
Exactly, and not only that, she's taking care of her main event. She is protecting the main event of what could potentially be at WrestleMania. And I understand where Stephanie's coming from, but I also understand Becky's perspective. Like you said, all the opportunities she's ever had been taken away from her one way or another. And she's worked extremely hard to get to this point. And this is when, if she doesn't step up, and if she is not ready to compete, she is going to miss out on the biggest match of her entire career.
Yeah, and you don't know when she's going to get another big match like she is going to get with Ronda. Because she is one of the biggest superstars right now on the roster.
Yeah, she definitely is, and missing this match is really, really going to hurt her. And not only her, but the WWE as well. And so when Stephanie tells her, if you do not get cleared, you will not compete at WrestleMania, and therefore she decides to indefinitely suspend her. That is crazy because Raw is going to go on without Becky Lynch. So that means Ronda Rousey has to pretty much carry this entire promo and this entire match on her shoulders for God knows how long. And Becky Lynch, if she decides to go see medical staff, she will definitely get cleared and she will definitely be able to compete. That doesn't mean she's out of the match. It just means that until she goes sees a doctor and gets cleared, she's suspended.
But like you said, for how long is she going to keep this for? And if it's a serious injury, then she's going to be out for quite some time.
She definitely is going to be out for quite some time, and I feel like that's what she fears. And we're just going to have to wait and see how long Becky Lynch is out of action.
Yeah, and like you said, she fears of being out of the main event. Just what happened with Nia Jax when she punched her in the face and totally unexpected, and she had to miss her big opportunity.
Exactly, which was potentially going to be the biggest match of her entire career. And now she finally has that opportunity, and she does not want to let that go. Alright, moving on to the very first match of the night, which was Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. Come on, why you guys have to do Liv like that? She literally went in, she was in this match for probably a minute, and the reason why I say a minute is because she was able to extend it to a minute, because when the match started, Liv just runs out of the ring and she's like, nope, and she's starting to play those mind games with Ronda, and the moment Ronda catches her in the ring, it was over. She put her in the armbar and just put her away.
And Ronda was smart because she didn't fall into their game. She did not go outside the ring, because she knew that if she went outside the ring, she was going to be in trouble and was going to get attacked by the Riot Squad.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that I feel Ronda has really, really learned. If you go back and listen to our previous podcasts from when she first debuted, we said she always got distracted and she was always like kind of scared of what was outside, and she couldn't keep herself focused in a match. And I feel like now she's really, really worked on that. She has really gotten to keep focus on her match, and she's really, really at the level where I feel she should be.
And obviously, the power was the difference in this match. She just grabbed Liv, tossed her around a couple times, and then pretty much put her
in the armbar, and that's it. It was over. But then Ronda pretty much loses it, and she starts going off on the fans and saying, "Oh, you guys keep booing me, and nobody's doing anything about it." And so then she calls out Sarah Logan, and so what does she do? Sarah goes in and gives her a fight, and I feel like they were pretty much evenly matched when it comes to power. Not wrestling-wise, but when it comes to power, they were evenly matched because Sarah was able to keep up with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that part. The power-wise, they're pretty much evenly matched. But wrestling-wise, I think Ronda was a little bit better.
Yeah, but you also have to give it to Sarah Logan. She's improved majorly over the last year, yeah, because they debuted at Survivor Series in 2017. So she has improved a lot, and I feel like they're finally getting that opportunity. The fact that Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan are even in the Elimination Chamber match to qualify, that even qualified for the Elimination Chamber match, for the women's tag team titles, that's insane to me because it's like a year ago you wouldn't see them there, right? And now they're having matches against the Raw Women's Champion, Ronda Rousey. And even after Sarah Logan lost, Ruby Riott is kind of just staring Ronda Rousey down, and she's like looking at her, and you can tell Ruby Riott isn't scared, and she even said it backstage when she went there, and she was like, "I am not scared, but today I wasn't going to fight her." Why? Because Liv and Sarah needed me, and she was there for them, and like we said, they've always been family.
And the fact that Ronda Rousey challenged Sarah Logan, she's trying to make a statement that she's willing to fight anybody at any time, no matter who it is.
Exactly. Whether she is prepared for a fight or not, she will fight you, and she will pretty much break your arm.
Yeah, and then this is a different Ronda Rousey. If you notice, she is more focused, but not only that, she's pretty much angry. This is an angry Ronda Rousey, which benefits her because she's more aggressive. And, I mean, we see what she could do in the ring already.
Exactly. We definitely have seen what she could do in the ring, but I feel like her frustration comes from last week's Raw where she got booed out of the building because Becky was there. And I feel like this is now the time when the fans are going to start to get to her, and that is really, really bad because, keep in mind, a WWE superstar like Becky Lynch is used to the crowd reactions. She's used to people turning on her. She's used to people being over, right?
Yeah, and with Ronda, she's not used to that. She's used to being shared all the time, being liked, and now that she has finally met someone that is probably over her, she's not too comfortable with that.
Exactly. And yes, I do get it. She understands it's part of a storyline, but I also feel like she's not ready for it. You know, and this entire time, ever since last year's WrestleMania, she has been the most over women's wrestler in the entire roster. She came out and she would get insane reactions, and now I feel like her getting booed out of the building is something she's just not used to.
She's not liking it, and it's like making her uncomfortable, and I feel that it's gonna make her go above and beyond to prove herself, which is pretty good at the same time.
Yeah, because then that's going to bring a whole new side of Ronda Rousey that we haven't seen yet, and we got to see that in these two matches. She's angry, she's upset, she wants to prove something, and she's eager for a fight.
And it shows that she is not afraid of Becky Lynch, and she goes head-to-head with Becky pretty much. You know, she gets in that microphone war with her.
Exactly, and I also feel like Ronda is mad because last week Becky Lynch pretty much was smiling throughout her entire promo as Ronda was trying to talk smack to her, so I feel like that also got under her skin, and you gotta give it to Becky. She has been able to play with Ronda's emotions. She definitely has. And getting a little bit more into Ruby Riott, I could see Ruby Riott potentially facing Ronda Rousey at the Elimination Chamber, because think about it, Ruby doesn't even have a match.
Yeah, and like me and you talked before, Ruby Riott hasn't faced Ronda Rousey yet in a one-on-one competition, I believe. Pretty much Ronda has gone through the entire Raw roster.
Yeah, and I believe the only one left to beat is Ruby Riott, and I feel like Ruby is going to definitely give her a fight, and I feel like she's going to be one of those ones that outsmarts her mentally. And not to mention she has the Riott Squad. But moving on into the next match of the night, which was the Four Corners match. Basically, the winner of this match was going to get a title opportunity at the Tag Team Championships. Now, the competitors were Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, the B Team, and the Revival. Now, like I said at the beginning, the winner of this match was going to get a shot at Bobby Roode and Chad Gable for the Tag Team Championships.
Keep in mind, this tag match was pretty evenly matched, but in my opinion, odd favorites to win this was going to be the B team. Why? Because they had already been tag team champions.
I definitely agree with you on that one, but there was a lot of competition. Not only because, well, you had the very new, the rookies, which were Heavy Machinery, but you also had somebody like you said, obviously the B team, who have the experience of being tag champs, and you have somebody like the Revival who has been a team together for so long.
Yeah, and I was very, very impressed by Heavy Machinery. They're just so impressive in the ring. They work well, and that's a team that we have to keep an eye on.
You definitely do have to keep an eye on them. I don't think they've decided which brand they want to send them to. Personally, I would keep them in Raw just because look at what they've done already with the tag team division there over the last 2 weeks. They have really helped it out, and I feel like Heavy Machinery is the creativeness that Raw needs.
Yeah. I mean, they got a lot of great tag teams in SmackDown, so that really wouldn't help them out as much. Where they would show all their talent, all their potential, it would be in Raw.
And I feel like you need that powerhouse tag team. And they are that powerhouse tag team. I mean, we already know SmackDown already has Sanity. And yes, we haven't seen them in a while, but they have Sanity. And I feel like they could very, very well use Heavy Machinery. And I gotta admit, I was very impressed, For the size of those guys, they move incredibly. They have some amazing talent. And I cannot wait to see more of these guys.
Super athletics, they move like if they were lightweights.
They very much do.
Especially Otis.
He does. And, that Caterpillar, that's amazing. He does that like if he was a pro. Well, he is. But, you understand what I mean. And then, I gotta give it to the Lucha House Party because they really know how to work well together. And I feel like these three are a very good tag team. They work well together. They did a fantastic job isolating, I believe it was the Revival, for a really long time. And that tells you, and it just shows you the experience that this team has. I feel like out of all of them, they were the ones with the most experience simply because look at what they were doing inside of the ring. They knew that if they let the Revival tag, it was over for them, especially if they tagged in Heavy Machinery. They knew it was going to be over. And that's what they try to focus on. Try to keep their opponent down as much as they can.
And another thing, too, that I noticed during the match, the B team only went in once. So it's like you're letting the old tag team champions not participate because you knew that they've already been there and they're the more experienced tag team.
Exactly. And piggybacking a little bit on what he said, you're giving the new tag teams the opportunity to shine. We haven't seen Heavy Machinery, but we got to see them dominate the majority of this match. And that's great because it's giving me an insight as to who Heavy Machinery is. And yeah, we've seen the Revival, who by the way came out victorious, but you haven't really gotten to see them really showcase who they are. And I feel like this match really proved who the Revival was.
Yeah, and hopefully the Revival this time ends up getting the win because I think they're a great tag team and they definitely deserve to be tag team champions.
Do you see them potentially beating Bobby Roode and Chad Gable for the tag team championships? I know they have faced them before, but do you see them beating them this time?
I see them beating them this time.
I think it's long overdue. I think it's time for the Revival to really take over now.
I think they're more focused and more motivated now than what they were before.
Simply because the odds were always against them, and I feel like now they know the odds are always going to be against us, and now they're mentally prepared for that. And that is, I think, what helped them in this match. And I gotta give it to the Lucha House Party one more time. I forgot to say this, but they remind me of the Usos. Simply because they know how to survive, and they know how to potentially win a match. And that's something that you don't really see from a lot of tag teams. Yeah, they work together, but they know how to survive. And that's only something I've seen with the Usos so far.
And the advantage of this team is that whenever there's going to be a tag team match and you say there's a Lucha House Party, you don't know which one of the three is going to compete in the match. So for all the opponents, you don't know who to prepare for.
Exactly. And that's always something you got to be ready for, because if you don't know who you're going to prepare for, how are you supposed to win a match?
Kind of with like the New Day. You say, oh, you're going to face the New Day. You don't know if you're going to face Kofi and Biggie and Xavier. So
it's that's just how it works, but I just thought I would point that out. You can disagree, you can agree. But moving on to the very next segment, which was Kurt Angle, and he starts going about some of the highlights that happened in his career. And at first I thought it was really, really weird because I was like, why is he talking about, what he's done in his career? And then I realized, okay, this is probably a retirement speech. And that's when Baron Corbin interrupts and tells him, wrap it up already. You know, people don't need to feel sorry for you. You're already pretty much supposed to be retired, and you should have retired at the Hall of Fame 2 years ago. And he pretty much shot his shot at Kurt Angle, because who says that to a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell he doesn't respect them, but it is what it is with Kurt Angle. He feels that he can still keep on going, and it's really up to him. He's one of the greatest of all times.
He definitely is. You know, do I feel like it's Kurt Angle's time? I can't decide that for him. You know, like you said, only he can decide, because only he knows the way his body feels. But I definitely do feel like they're going somewhere, and somewhere big, and I feel like he's not done yet. At least not until WrestleMania, because he has to go on to another WrestleMania and win a big match. Because so far, he's lost to Drew McIntyre, and he's lost to Baron Corbin, and he's just been tossed around here and there. And I feel like they have to give him that big match before he retires.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's been a rough couple of months, especially with Baron Corbin and McIntyre humiliating him. And he wants to redeem himself. If he's going to leave WWE, he needs to get a big win, and I feel that's what he's going for.
Yeah, and that's definitely what they're going to do. I can potentially see it at WrestleMania. Against who? I don't know. Yet again, none of these men have a match pretty much set. The only matches we know so far are that Becky Lynch is facing Ronda Rousey and that Seth Rollins is facing Brock Lesnar. That's the only matches we have, so it could potentially happen. And then Drew McIntyre comes out and he's like, "Oh, Kurt, I already humiliated you. I pretty much ended your career already," is what he told him. And then they decide that they're going to attack him, because if no one does anything about it, Kurt is just going to keep showing up and keep showing up and keep showing up week after week after week after week. And Drew McIntyre decides to take it upon himself.
Yeah, they were trying to put Kurt Angle out for good, pretty much, is what they were trying to do.
Yeah, that's definitely what they were trying to do. And then Braun Strowman decides to come out, and he comes out to the rescue, which I thought it was really weird, because I wasn't expecting anybody to come out and help Kurt Angle, because you do get to see that when there's a lot of faces, you don't really get to see anybody come out and help him.
But I also see why, just because he's had a feud with McIntyre and Baron Corbin.
That is definitely correct. I mean, he's gotten beat and injured so many times by these two that it does definitely make sense for him to come out and help somebody like Kurt Angle. And we'll get a little more into that, since that will be our main event. But moving on to the very next match of the night, which was Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Alicia Fox and Nikki Cross. The winner of this match was going to qualify for the Elimination Chamber to challenge for the first ever women's tag team titles.
Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox, odd pairing.
That definitely is an odd pairing, but they learned to work very, very well together, and I feel like that comes from Alicia Fox. She is a veteran. She knows both Sasha and Bayley super, super well, and I feel like throughout the years, even though it might not seem like it, she does her homework on every single competitor.
Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox try to take advantage by attacking Sasha Banks and Bayley before the match starts, which is pretty smart. So
yeah, it definitely is, especially if you see somebody as a competition. You're not just going to be like, "Oh, okay, you're my competition, I'm just going to let you into a match with me where you're both going to be 100%. No. So what do? They definitely attack them, and they opened doors. And at first we thought this match was not going to happen. We were like, okay, this is not going to happen, because after the beating that Sasha and Bayley took, there was no way they were going to be able to compete.
And to everybody's surprise and to our surprise, they were able to compete.
Yes. And so therefore, Bayley was pretty much the sole survivor of this match, because she carried the entire match by herself. She won the match by herself. Therefore, they're advancing to the Elimination Chamber. But you gotta give it to Bayley, because lately she's been extremely motivated. We've seen a new, rejuvenated Bayley.
And this is the Bayley we want to see. The Bayley that we've seen for the past couple of weeks already. She is more motivated. She is hungry. And you can tell that she really wants to win the women's tag team titles with Sasha.
And not only that, it's also WrestleMania season. Imagine, they go into the Elimination Chamber and they don't win the tag team titles. What's next for Sasha and Bayley? She has to prove herself, because if for some reason they don't win the Elimination Chamber and become the first ever women's tag team champion, what happens from there? Where do they go? What storyline do they go forward to?
Yeah, because they've been focusing on them to be tag team
Exactly.
An actual tag team for the past couple of weeks.
Exactly, and therefore, she has to prove herself both as a single competitor and as a tag team competitor. And that's what she did in this match. She carried the entire match and won it by herself.
And keep in mind, Sasha Banks wasn't able to recover from the attack of Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox.
Yeah, so that's why Bayley carried the majority of the match. But you also have to keep in mind, Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox worked extremely well together in this entire match. And like you said, it was an odd pairing at first, but it works.
For the first time being together, very, very impressive.
And I feel like their characters match up a lot because they're both a little crazy. And I feel like that's something that helped them out. Yeah, because if you really think about it, she's like a crazy character. And I feel like she would have been the perfect Sister Abigail. I really, really do think that. And Alicia Fox, you already know, you make her mad and she goes berserk. And I feel like that's what's interesting about their characters. And I think that's what helped them come together in this match.
No doubt about, Nikki Cross would have been a perfect Sister Abigail, like you say. She would have been perfect to play her.
Yeah, I definitely think that they should have gone with that, man. We never got to even meet Sister Abigail, did we? No, we never did. See, they should have used Nikki Cross. They missed out on an opportunity there, but
that would have been great.
It would have been great, yeah. All right, moving on to the very next segment. I was about to say match. It is a match technically, but we get to see Road Dogg come out.
As Jeff Jarrett and Road Dogg, they get to sing an entire song, and they don't get interrupted. But Elias comes out all the time, and he always gets interrupted. That's not fair. That is not fair to Elias.
That is definitely not fair, and I feel like that's something that really upsets Elias, because in this match against Jeff Jarrett, he comes out fired up. He is ready for a fight, and I feel like he is done with people taking his spotlight. He really never gets to sing an entire full song.
And Jeff Jarrett does.
I know, and he just came back.
And I understand he's a Hall of Famer, but come on, man, Elias
deserves the spotlight. He deserves to perform at least one full song, guys. Come on. Anyways, moving back into this match, Elias was able to pick up the win, and Road Dogg got upset, and he went after Elias, and they pretty much attacked him, and they took him out, which is very, very interesting, because Elias being the rookie and being as over as he has been, I wasn't expecting them to just take him out like that.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what's next for Elias in this feud.
I definitely do want to see that. I think they hit jackpot here because they put him with somebody else who performs. And I feel like performer versus performer is going to be an interesting feud. We've already seen it last week. We saw it at the Rumble. And it's definitely not over. If anything, I think it'll be over at the Elimination Chamber.
And I like where they're going with this. Definitely. Something new, something different.
Yeah. And see, that's the type of thing you don't expect. Where it's like, it's a brand new feud. It's fresh. You don't expect it. And therefore, you're into it.
And Road Dogg brings something different to the table.
He definitely does, and damn, he still got it. He's got those moves.
He does.
Seeing him beat up Elias like that, I'm like, damn, he still has it. But I guess once you learn something and you're really, really good at it, it's just a natural thing. Alright, moving on to the very next match of the night, which was supposed to be Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley, but turns out Bobby Lashley was like, you do not deserve an opportunity against me. I am better than Brock Lesnar. I could beat Brock Lesnar even in my sleep. And quite frankly, you just don't deserve an opportunity against me. So, then he goes on and tells him, if you can beat Lio Rush and you can impress me enough, I will consider giving you an opportunity to the Intercontinental Championship.
And I was excited for this match because this match had all the potential of being the match of the night. We all know what Finn Balor does in the ring. And Lio Rush, me personally, I haven't seen Lio Rush in 205. So I was excited to see him in the main roster, what he could offer. And the match was pretty good.
The match definitely was pretty good. Bobby Lashley played a really huge role in this. And I feel like he was there to overshadow Lio Rush. But he got pretty much, I was going to say escorted out. He pretty much got kicked out from ringside. And therefore he allowed Lio Rush to really showcase what he had to offer.
And you could tell Bobby Lashley is not a manager or meant to be ringside because he made the mistake of pulling Finn Balor right in front of the ref. Come on, you don't do that in front of the ref.
You don't, and that's what got him ejected from the ring in the first place. It's like, come on, at least be slick about it.
Exactly. You be sneaky about it. Come up with some way to distract the ref, and he didn't do that.
He didn't, and so therefore he was really upset because he had to leave. But like I said, I feel like that really helped out Lio Rush in this match because we got to see a Lio that we don't usually get to see. You usually get to see Lio Rush behind the microphone. He's talking, he's cutting a promo, and he is making sure that his client, Bobby Lashley, looks better than anybody else. And in this match, he really, really impressed me.
He impressed me too, and I was excited to see what he was gonna bring in. Sure enough, it was a great match from beginning to end.
And you also have to keep in mind, he had an advantage already going into this match because Finn Balor has not been 100% since the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and then not only that, but Bobby Lashley attacked Finn Balor before the match started.
Yeah, so he definitely had an advantage, and I feel like with the advantage that he already had, he was really able to showcase the amount of talent that he has. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in the ring. I really do want to see that.
And Finn Balor, showing a lot of heart, a lot of guts, was able to pull out the win, even though with all the injuries and being attacked before the match started.
You really have to give it to Finn Balor because I feel like over the last couple of years, he's just been seen as like the underdog. He's really been underestimated, and I don't feel like he's been appreciated. And now I feel like he's finally slowly going to be getting that push, and I feel like he's really earned that opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, I would like to see him face Bobby Lashley for the Intercontinental title.
And I definitely, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with me on this one, I would definitely give Finn Balor the Intercontinental Championship. I feel like it would help him, and I feel like it would bring his career to a whole new level.
I have to agree with you on that 100%.
And does he need it? No. He's obviously already a top star, but I feel like it's the next step for him because obviously the Universal Championship is out of the question right now because Seth is going for it. But after he proves himself with the Intercontinental Championship, he could be next in line. And we already know he already beat Seth Rollins once when he became the first ever Universal Champion, so that could potentially be his opportunity.
Yeah, I would love to see him Intercontinental Champion. I think he would do great, and it will be the next step into going either the WWE Championship or the Universal.
Either or would be great. I think he would do fantastic with either or, and I think he would be a great champion.
Plus, he deserves to have a title around his waist. Ever since he got injured, he kind of has been put off to the side, and I feel that it's his time right now to shine.
I definitely do agree with that 100%. Alright, now getting into something that's very, very interesting. We're going to move a little backwards, back to the beginning. We've seen Ronda Rousey talk trash to Becky, and we've seen Becky talk trash to Ronda. Obviously, this match is happening, and it's more than likely potentially going to be the main event of WrestleMania. So, because Becky Lynch won the Rumble, you know now that she's facing Ronda Rousey, okay? She earned her shot. That's your match. That's your women's match for the Raw roster. Now, for SmackDown, we don't have an opponent as of right now for Asuka. Who do I see facing Asuka? I see Alexa. But Armando, on the other hand, sees this person right here who returned to promote
her movie, Paige. And the reason why I say Paige is because we think that pretty much at WrestleMania it's going to be a triple threat match for Ronda Rousey's Raw Women's title.
Yeah, that's pretty much a given. Based on the storyline today, you already know it's going to be a triple threat. It's happening.
So they're adding Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda. So we really don't see anybody else facing Asuka. So as of right now, Asuka doesn't have an opponent technically, right? And you said Alexa, and yes. I say Paige. And Paige because, yeah, she's had a neck injury and stuff like that. And before she left her retirement, not retirement speech, but before she
pretty much said she was unable to compete, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, she said that she wanted the outcome of Daniel Bryan, which is being able to come back and wrestle. And I believe that she is going to come back and wrestle. And she hasn't had that big moment. Keep in mind, she hasn't been in the first ever
Money in the Bank.
Women's Royal Rumble. She's missed the Money in the Bank. She's missed the Hell in a Cell. So what better opportunity for someone that paved the way in the women's evolution than to face Asuka and probably even win the title against Asuka.
And keep in mind, she hasn't had a WrestleMania moment since WrestleMania 31 in San Jose. But even then, it wasn't a one-on-one match. she was teamed up with AJ Lee and she faced the Bellas. Yeah, they came out victorious, but even then, she didn't have that one-on-one match. She didn't get to experience what it was like to have a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. And I do agree with you on this one. Like, she hasn't been part of any of the first evers, and I feel like she is probably, not that anybody else on this roster doesn't deserve it, but if there's anybody that deserves a match at WrestleMania, it's definitely Paige. Yeah. She's done so much.
Yeah, because she was that stepping stone from all the women of NXT moving to the main roster.
Yeah, she definitely was, and she for sure started the women's evolution. She was that one person that was like, okay, we're transitioning now. It's a whole new era, and I'm going to guide you guys through that. And I feel like her and the Bellas just took the torch and ran with it. And seeing her face Asuka, I think would just blow the roof out of pretty much the MetLife. And I think that would be the match of the night if she were to come back and face Asuka.
And what better way to come back when she's promoting her movie?
Yeah. I mean, think about it, right? You're promoting your movie, or she's promoting her movie. And then she comes out and she's like, oh, by the way, I have a new movie out. But not only that, I'm also going to have a match at WrestleMania. You're going to be like, I am buying a ticket, and you're going to watch the movie because you want to see how she got to the point where she is now. And I mean, I definitely do see that happening. I do see Paige facing her. But in case it wasn't Paige, I could potentially see Alexa, because if you really think about it, there's nobody else on the SmackDown roster that can face Asuka.
And we're not underestimating the rest of the women's division on SmackDown, but you need a blockbuster main event from SmackDown too. As of right now, Raw has one and SmackDown doesn't.
Exactly. And who else other than Paige to bring that amount of attention to the SmackDown match at WrestleMania?
And I also agree with your other pick, Alexa. Alexa really hasn't had a storyline yet, and I feel like they don't know what to do with her yet.
Yeah. And I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to get her to SmackDown. How do you do that? Simple. A moment of bliss. She can have the show on both shows. It works out because then we already know she ran the women's division in Raw. She can definitely run it in SmackDown as well, and then just be like, I'm here to see what SmackDown has in store. And that's how you can get her over there. But in case that doesn't happen, you know, WWE, they find one way or another to get you into the match, just like they're finding a way to bring Charlotte into the triple threat. But yes, I do agree. I definitely do see Paige potentially facing
Hopefully,
Asuka.
We'll see what happens. Let us know what you think and who do you guys think is going to face Asuka at WrestleMania.
Yes, let us know in the comments below. Alright, moving on to Alexa. Speaking of Alexa, a moment of bliss. So this was the most comedic thing to me, simply because of who she interviewed. She interviewed EC3, and for those of you guys that follow her and follow Mike Rome, you know it was kind of like a table for two. It kind of started where Mike Rome tried to shoot his shot at Alexa, and she would always just reject them. When she pretty much implied that she liked EC3, I was like, somebody check up on Mike Rome, the poor man.
She was pretty much flirting with EC3.
Yeah, she was, and that's why I was concerned for Mike Rome. He likes her, so it's kind of just like, is he okay? Somebody needs to check up on him. Please let me know that he's okay.
Mike Rome, send us a tweet, let us know you're okay.
Okay, anyways, going back into this, she does end up interviewing EC3, and she's like, alright, enough of the talking, enough of being mysterious, let us know which brand you are going to. Are you going to Raw, or are you going to SmackDown? And right before he could even answer, he gets interrupted by none other than Nia Jax, who interrupts every single moment of bliss. I'm starting to feel kind of like with Elias. She cannot finish an interview because here comes Nia Jax interrupting Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, and basically what Nia Jax was saying is that they shouldn't be talking about EC3, that they should be talking about Nia Jax, and how she was part of the Rumble, and how she made history of being a woman in participating in the Men's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and then she goes on to mention like all her accomplishments so far, and how all the attention should definitely be on her, and how the moment is not of EC3, it's her moment, and this is her opportunity. And I understand where she's trying to go. She's trying to, you know, pretty much set herself up for WrestleMania.
And then following that, who decides to interrupt?
Dean Ambrose, and he tells her, this is the funniest thing ever, because he comes out and he's like, Nia, I know you have the biggest crush on me, but you need to stay as far away from me as possible.
Yeah, Nia, you better stay away. If not, Renee Young is gonna come after you.
No, she's gonna throw some hands.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Armando wanted to see Renee throw hands last week. Hey, you could potentially see it because Nia never denied the fact that she didn't like Dean Ambrose. She just kind of made this face. But getting back into this segment, Dean pretty much just tell her, stay as far away from me as possible. And then he moves on to EC3 and he's like, who are you? And then EC3 says, I'm EC3. And he's like, so where's EC1 and EC2? You know, Dean Ambrose is that one person that just always make you laugh. He just never fails. And therefore, you know, he starts making fun of EC3 and EC3 gets mad and he punches him. And then that leads into the next match, which was EC3 versus Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, excited to see what EC3 is going to bring into the main roster, whether it's Raw or whether it's SmackDown.
Where would you place him?
I would place him in Raw.
I definitely would place him in Raw as well. He definitely gave Dean Ambrose a fight, and this match was very, very short. He stole the victory tonight, and Dean wasn't happy about it. You can tell, because he was like, what? He couldn't believe it, and I feel like Dean was distracted. He wasn't fully 100% there.
Yeah, definitely Dean probably has a lot of things in his mind.
And great debut for EC3, winning his very first match on the main roster. It's going to be interesting to see what storyline he decides to lead. I was telling him, I was like, hopefully they don't partner him with Alexa, but seeing her manage somebody, I feel like would bring something completely new to the women's division, because it's kind of Alexa doesn't have anybody to manage, and Raw doesn't have anybody to manage. SmackDown, on the other hand, has Selena with Andrade, and I feel like that's the only duel that you have other than Lana and Rusev, but even then they haven't really been as together.
She hasn't been the manager lately like she was when they first started.
Exactly. You said exactly what I was trying to say. And I feel like Raw needs that, because Raw doesn't really have a female looking over a talent right now, and I could potentially see Alexa being a manager to someone. Who? I don't know. They could potentially put her with EC3, and I think that would be great, but I don't know.
Mike Rowe's gonna have a heart attack if that happens.
Lord, somebody help him. Alright, moving on to the very next match of the night, which was the main event. Baron Corbin, Andrew McIntyre versus Kurt Angle and Braun Strowman. Kurt Angle, who we haven't seen in the ring since
the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, since the Royal Rumble. It's been 8 days, I believe. I was going to say next week, but, you know.
And singles competition is probably what you meant.
Yeah, that is what I meant. But he has a partner, Braun Strowman. I really didn't see Braun just helping him, like I said earlier, but you did give a very important point, which was he has beef with both these men. They both tried to take him out, and they pretty much tried to end his career. I mean, you can't deny that. And that's something that he is not going to let slide, because somebody that messes with Braun Strowman is bound to get these hands.
Yeah, and at moments where Kurt Angle was in trouble, you saw Braun Strowman come out and help him out during the match, to that point where he got disqualified because he wasn't a legal man.
Yeah, and I feel like him really getting involved in this match was him also trying to protect Kurt Angle and trying to protect his ego and his legacy of who he is.
Yeah. And what happened to that mentality of protecting the legends? Like, a lot of superstars, they see a legend getting attacked out there, and they don't come out and they help him out anymore.
Yes! It's like, why? Now, I understand, yeah, it was part of the storyline, but it's like, if you see a legend getting beat up, I knew if I was a superstar and I saw Trish getting beat up, I would go out and help her. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to benefit from anything, but, you know, I'm still going to go help her. She's a legend, or same thing with Lita, or whoever. It doesn't matter.
If not, do it out of respect.
Yes, out of respect for the legends themselves. And I feel like that's what Braun Strowman was doing. You know, he was protecting Kurt Angle, and not only that, but when he came into this match, he was 100% brutal. He was throwing hands. He really, really was.
Yeah, and not only that, but he was also trying to motivate Kurt Angle. Telling him that he could do it, that if not, that he had his back.
And Kurt Angle carried the majority of this match. Most of the stuff that he did was suplex, and you gotta give it to him, because he's trying, and even though he's not at the level he was 10, 15 years ago, he still definitely has it. He just moves a lot slower, but hey, you still have to give it to him because he's still out there and he's still wrestling and he's still putting his body on the line for our entertainment.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Kurt Angle.
Yes. And somebody who's really, really impressed me over the last year is Baron Corbin. Because to see where he was to where he is now, yeah, he hasn't won a championship. Yeah, he hasn't really gotten the biggest push and he's not really liked. But if you really think about it, he got the biggest push ever because he got the opportunity to be Constable Corbin, and then from there, he's had matches with the biggest superstars in the Raw roster.
Not only that, but he's been able to develop his character, his persona in Raw, and that has really benefited him to step up his game.
It definitely has. He's bettered his character, and that's something that if you have a great character, you're bound to succeed. And I feel like that's something he's done.
And I feel that when he was in SmackDown, he was a little bit more shy. He kind of didn't want to go out. He didn't talk as much. Now, you see the confidence that he has on the mic.
And I feel like that also comes from him being part of the Authority, pairing him with the Authority. Not that they were, like, actually close, but having a mentor like Stephanie McMahon, because you got to see her. She would be like, okay, well, now you're in charge. You know, you make the decisions. And you would see him backstage constantly on the phone talking to Stephanie. And I feel like that's something that really helped him out. Simply because, like you said, he was shy. He didn't know who he was. And I feel like now he's found himself.
Yeah, and another one that's been super impressive since the beginning, McIntyre, no doubt about it.
No doubt about it. He pretty much took out Braun Strowman all on his own. He Claymore kicked him, and that was it.
I'm just super impressed of the way McIntyre executes the Claymore kick. He just does it so quick out of nowhere.
He definitely does, and we saw that definitely on tonight's match. And I potentially could see him facing Brock. I told you guys this back at what? SummerSlam? TLC, something like that. I said it in another episode. I don't remember. We've done so many of them. But my main event would have been having Brock against Drew McIntyre because the physicality of him and the talent that he has and the brutalness that he has, he could definitely take on Brock.
Yeah, match all the aggression and that physical strength. Definitely agree with you on that one.
And I feel like he would definitely bring the fight to him. I mean, he brings it to somebody like Braun Strowman. He can definitely do it with Brock Lesnar.
And it would have made perfect sense, like you said. Seth Rollins could have faced Daniel Bryan, which would have been a killer match. And that would have led to McIntyre facing Brock Lesnar, which would have been another great match, and it all would have made sense.
It definitely would have, and I feel like they missed out on that opportunity. But it is what it is. Moving back into this match, as you said, Strowman got himself disqualified, therefore costing them this match, and they were pretty much able to take out McIntyre and Corbin. Alright, that's all I have for you guys on this episode of Wrestling with Siblings. I'm Araceli.
I'm Armando.
And for those of you guys who do not know, we are on iTunes. Go ahead and leave us a review. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you do leave us a review, you could potentially be entered to win a prize, which you guys still haven't seen, which you will see very, very soon. Stay tuned for that. And also, you can get a shout out if you do any of these things. Just let us know that you have. Also, for those of you who do not know what WWS stands for, Armando, can you tell them what WWS stands for?
Wrestling with Siblings. Thank you guys so much.